All right, so in our today's lecture, we're going to resume from where we stopped at the previous lecture. In the previous lecture, we discussed about different user interfaces in a Flutter, and we looked at containers and that can contain a single child, and different containers that can contain more than one child. So we discussed what we call children. So we discussed about columns. We said columns, they are user interfaces that can enable us to put one item on top of the other in a vertical order. And we tried to use columns. In fact, it was working properly, not until when we had more items that could spend space more than the available space, and we saw that there is a breaking in a breaking in screen. So it means that a column, yes, it can enable us to put items on top of the other, but it cannot still solve all our problems of organizing items by putting them on top of the other, because if it goes beyond the current space, it has the way how it breaks the space. And secondly, these columns are not scrollable. So we have to look for a way how we can solve this problem. So to solve this problem, we are going to look into it through two ways. One of the way is to get another alternative user interface. However, a column has a place where it can work, and also another interface that I want to tell you about has also another place it can work. So they're both important. So if you want to have a user interface that can be scrollable, and in case it goes beyond the available space, it will still remain scrollable. We have a user interface called lists. So a list, it can enable us to create items that are scrollable, right? So if I have like 20 items and they're bigger than the available space, it will go ahead and start enabling us to scroll up and down. So though a list is also like a what? It's also like a column. So let me go ahead and share and look at how we can make use of lists. So if you still remember, as I gave you like a challenge to continue practicing on your own space, in your own time, I said that we shall be organizing our source code in respective folders. Like right last time, we looked at the folders where we were putting our items in, or the user interface folders. We call them pages. Okay. So today I'm going to also put another user interface, because we're going to be interacting with it. So we shall call it. So we shall also put it in the folder of pages. So let me go ahead and create another new page. So I can just simply come here and say right click. So others call them screens, others call them pages, but it doesn't matter what you call it as long as it is following the procedures of Flutter. So let me go ahead and create another page that I'm going to call list page dot. So this one, we're going to use it to practice the list. So I'll go ahead and create if it's framework. If you still remember, we just simply say stateless, stls, and then we just paste there the name of the screen that we want to have, and then you go ahead and click on the space here that is showing an error. Right click on it and then show options, and then you go ahead and import the material that you need. Or you can just simply press Alt and Enter, and then you select a material. So to import the material widgets like package or library. So once you put it, then the error will be gone. So what we're going to do, we're going to do this together. So it means that I'm going to find a way how I connect this list of hours to this page, so I can be able to do what, to click on it. So what I'll do, I'll just simply come back to my home page, which is a main page, and then I'll go ahead and create So you see this is a single item here, right? It's a single item, but we need to have more than one item here. So what do? We need to have them at least in some kind of a column, so or some kind of a column, so we can have one item on top of the other. So this one can be like our menu, right? So what I'll do, I'll come back to my home page here, and you can see it is just a single item, meaning that it is just taking one child. We have no way how we can make them multiple items. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to surround it with what? With a widget that can support more than one item. So there are two ways. If you have already built your widget and you want to surround it with some other widget, so there are two ways of how you can do it. One way, you can delete what you have, or you can cut what you have and then go ahead and create another widget and then put inside there. For example, one way is, for example, what surround this one with columns, so you can have an item on top of the other. You can just simply cut here, I select this, or you can simply collapse it right here. I go ahead and select it and cut it by pressing Ctrl X. All right, so after doing so, I go ahead and do what? And say column, right? I have certain column, so this column will take what I call children, and then I go ahead and paste there the other item that I cut. All right, so if I save, you'll see that you shall have the same results, but we have ability to add another item. For example, I can just simply put here comma and add another item down here, so you can have two items there. So that is one way of how you can surround an item with a column or row. All right, by first cutting it, create the item that you want to surround it with, and then go ahead and paste. The other way, I can just simply let me go back. So I'm pressing Ctrl Z to undo. The other way, I can just simply use the options or the suggestions. So I right click here and then I go ahead and say show options, and then I go ahead and say sound this one's what? Wrap it with column, right? Like this. Or you can use the shortcuts by clicking what you want to wrap with, press Alt and Enter, and then go ahead and say, so you see here, different suggestions, right? So I make sure that I click on the item that I want to surround with, right click on it, and then go ahead and say wrap with what? So you have different suggestions. So I can just simply say wrap with column. So I'll achieve the same thing, right? I'll achieve the same thing. In fact, that is what we always use as pros. You don't need to cut and manually put it there. You can use the suggestions to just simply surround it with an item that you need, like this, like the way I've shown you. So that is one way. I mean, that's the second way. So I believe the second way is the better. So now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put here another item that I want to surround with I mean the second item for my list. So this item I can call it I want it to link it with the lists page, right? So I can go ahead and say I can just simply copy this. This is going to be almost the same functions. I can just simply copy this second item here, this one here, and then I go ahead and paste it and then I can call this one list, and then you see I have here lists and then columns, right? So I can go ahead and link this one with what? With list screen that we've just created, or list page that we have just created. So this one we call it list page, like this. So I press Ctrl S. So I mean that if I press here, it will be leading us to the list page. So let me go ahead and do that. So if I click on a list, you see it is leading us to the list page. But as we know, the list page we have not done anything there. We just left there the default placeholder that we're going to do what? That we're going to replace with our logic for learning or practicing the list. All right. So now let's proceed. So we are going to go to our list. So if I want to go to this list page, I don't necessarily need to click on this file. I can just simply press Ctrl and then I click on the class that I want to jump to. So if I click there, it will take me to the same file that I want to go to. I'll go ahead and remove this placeholder, and if you still remember, we have to surround it with something called scaffold, and we discussed previously the advantage of what of scaffold. It gives us a structure of some of a typical mobile application, right? So the AI suggested for me, but I can just explain. However, you can just look at what I've shown you and then I explain. So let me explain this step by step. We have we have we have okay, let me just remove this and I will do it step by step so you can understand how everything has come into play, and shall discuss other things later. So if I press scaffold and I just save, our application will just get the shape of typical or normal applications. However, you don't necessarily need to use scaffold, but it saves us a lot not to suffer with code. So we say that a scaffold can have an app bar, and the app bar can help us to do what? To have a default app bar that can give us different functionalities. So I can just simply go ahead and say app bar, and then I go ahead and give it the app bar will have what we call title, if you still remember, and this title will take a widget. So we typically pass there text widget, and then we go ahead and put there the item that we want. For example, list, right? Or I can say lists. So if I save, you can see that we have list by just simply writing those few lines. And this app bar has a lot of parameters. If you want to see these parameters, just move your mouse here and then you pause it here. You'll be able to see those parameters. Or you can just simply click on you can just simply go in this app bar in this app bar widgets, and then press Ctrl and space. Alt and space, I think, if you're using Windows. If you're using Mac, it is Ctrl and space. I think even Windows, right? Alt and space will give you, I think, nothing. Ctrl space will give you suggestions or suggestion of things that you can add in the app bar possibly. So you can see all of them here. And if you want to read more about them, you can just simply press Ctrl and then click on the app bar itself. So take you into Flutter code and look at different things that you can be able to put on app bar. So if you want to go ahead and teach yourself, this is how you teach yourself, by going here and then go ahead and test them, see what are they expecting. If I want to put something like an icon theme, what do they expect? And if I press Ctrl and click on icon theme, they'll show me the kind of data that is being expected. So let me go back to the list, right? So here we have our app bar called the list view, and so we're going to now have our body, and so our body is going to have the list view itself. So you have a view that we always call list view. So this list view, which is also like column, it takes what? Children, right? It takes children. So what I'm going to do, I can go ahead and say text and just simply say child item 1. Maybe I can go ahead and increase on the font of this item and make it 30 so it can be a little bit bigger, and you see the difference. So if I save, you can still have item 1. So I can duplicate this to have the second item, and then you can say maybe have item 2 here, and then item 3. Item 3, you press Ctrl, hold it, and then press D to duplicate an item. And let me say 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, and 13, and 14. Let's stop at 15. So if I save, I see you have all the items are there. But you see the difference here. When I try to poll it, it shows that it can be scrolled, though we have not had enough items that can help us to show that it exceeds screen. Let me increase the font so you can be able to see that it increases what it exceeds the what the screen, and then we see if it can be able to do what to be scrolled. All right, so I'll go ahead and save. So you can see the items have gone beyond the screen. But here the difference is that it did not break the screen, right? So that is what makes the list a little bit different from what? From column. It did not break the what? The screen. Okay. Hope you can see that. Okay. So that power is given to us by what? By lists. So a list can enable us to be able to do what? To scroll. However, columns cannot enable us to do what? To scroll. However, if you necessarily want to scroll the column, I just can simply go to columns page. So that was the first way of how you can make the column what? Be scrollable. So if you want to make the column to be scrollable, another alternative, you can just simply go to columns page here, and then you surround it with what? With a scroll view. So let me go to columns here, and then you surround it with a scroll view. So I told you how you surround item with another item. So a scroll view has only one child, right? A scroll view, it has one child. You should always know that. So if I want to surround this one with scroll view child, I'll just simply press Control and space. I mean Alt and, is it Alt or Control? Alt and space. Yes. I move my mouse to what I want to surround with, which is the column. I press Alt and space, and then I'll be able to see different suggestions. So since scroll view, I said it has one child, so I can just simply go ahead and say center. Since they cannot suggest all of them, they only suggest here common ones. You see, wrap with, they suggest only the common widgets. So I can select center because I know center will take one child, and then I go ahead and replace it with what I exactly want. So I go ahead and remove this center instead and replace it with what? With single, we call it single child scroll view. So single child scroll view can enable something that is inside it to be able to scroll. So it is the item that will be scrolling. So you see now I can be able to do what? To scroll this what? This column. Hope you can see that. However, it does not spend 100% of the available width like the way how the list did. Scroll view will only spend the available height. It means that you can, if you have, you cannot put two scroll view in a what? In a single column. Why? Because they'll want to spend the available height, and if they want to spend the available height and the height is not enough, then they'll cause also the screen crashing error, showing that the available space it is not enough. You can try all those in your free time. So I hope you can see that, members. So this is one way of how you can make a column to be scrollable, and also another way we talked about the what, making use of a what, of a list. All right, list UI here, so you can see it. So that is a list view. However, list view, it can be dynamic. We can dynamically do what? We can dynamically generate this list. So let's look at different parameters that the list can take, so you can get rid of the list topic at once. So I can just simply press here Control and Alt and Control. Alt and Enter to see different suggestions. So it has another thing called add automatic keep alive. It has another parameter called clip behavior. It has another parameter called controller. So this controller can help you to control your list programmatically. It has another parameter called keyboard dismiss behavior. It has another parameter called physics. It has another parameter called shrink wrap, so it can use as minimum space as possible. Yeah, all that are there. You can go ahead and read more about them. but here the main point is we can be able to do what, to have a list item in that way. However, before we leave this list item, I'd like to show you one more widget, what we call a list view. So a Flutter, not list view, we call it list tile. So Flutter gives us some widgets that are commonly used because it doesn't want us to suffer so much by designing everything by ourselves from scratch. So among the widgets that it gives to us is the list tile. As you know, or most applications, almost every application that you use, it has a list in it, a list of items. Almost, I don't say all, but almost each and every application, you'll always find there a list of A, B, C, D. If it is settings, you'll have the first item in the list of settings, maybe general, maybe brightness, maybe security. So all those, you'll find that everything is in a list. For example, if I open this emulator of mine and I just do like this, you see all these are lists. Even though it is a grid, but it is a list. If I open this browser of mine, you'll see that if I go here to this, it is a list. If I go to history, it is a list. If I go to anything, it is almost a list. If I can even say here, this is a list also. It have the first item, second item, third item. So it is a list. So almost all applications always deal with what? With lists. So because of that, Flutter gave us quick widget that can help us to work with list items with simplicity, and that one we call it a list tile. So the list tile, it can enable us to do what, to create list items with simplicity. Let me go ahead and switch on my fan here, because all right. Okay, so now let's look at the list tile. Too much things have been said. Let's look at the list tile. So I don't know whether I should put it here. Let me make it here the first item in this list view, and then we can see more about it. So I can just simply come here and say list tile. So list tile, I can just simply save. So right now it has nothing in it. So it has just spared its space, and there's nothing in that list tile. So this list tile has important things that it takes. The first thing that it takes is the what? Sorry, not list tile, not list view, list tile. Sorry, yeah. So the first thing that it takes is the title, all right? So the title is the main item of that list, all right? For example, I can call this one list item 0, right? So if I save, you'll see that we have that list item 0 as a what? As our first element there. But you can see the difference between this list item 0 and these list items is that this one is already spaced. I hope you can see that it is well spaced. If I create here, for example, the second one, let me say, for example, this one is 0, 0, and I create here the second one called 0, 0, 0, 1, something like that. So you can see that these ones, this list, are already spaced properly because this one, they are just plain text. But if you use list tile, it automatically put your things in in a decent spacing, so they cannot be congested or placed exactly in a same place all together, something like that. So that is the one advantage. It comes with its own spacing and gives us a space where we can put our title. So let's look at more important fields that you can pass to the list tile. Another item that you can pass the list tile, we have a subtitle. All right, so can go ahead and say subtitle. So this subtitle also accept the widget, so I can say this is a subtitle, and then I go ahead and close. So if I save, you'll be able to see that there is a subtitle here. This is a subtitle, which is slightly smaller than the title. And we did not do what? We did not Jolly. Can't stink. So we do not here pass, we do not pass, we don't do a lot of logic to be able to achieve this. Flutter does it for us all. So that's another a parameter. So another parameter that we can pass here, we have another item called leading. So leading, it gives us a way how we can pass an item in front of what? An icon or any widget in front of what? In the front of this item if we want to. You see that if I go, for example, to this browser of mine, you realize that an item has, if I come here to menu, you see, an item has some kind of an icon that represents it. So people who don't know how to read, they can use those icons to guess or understand what's the meaning of text or the meaning of that particular list item. So you see this item, the icon is in front. So as I said, a Flutter gives us ability to achieve something like that. So we can put an item in front of a what? In front of a list, and that one we call it leading. So if you put leading, it means that it will enable us to put something in front of what? In front of the list. So you can just say save. I'll be able to see that we have an icon there in front. It cannot necessarily be an icon. It can be even a text. For example, I can just simply say my leading is going to be text and I put 1. So you see that I have 1 as text as a leading item here. It is well spaced without too much hassle by just simply placing something like that. So I can just simply say leading and then I go ahead and say icon and then I say icons, and then I go ahead and select the icon that I want to place there. For example, I can go ahead and say maybe I want to press this icon of a clock and then I close this leading icon and then put comma. So you can see that we have our first icon there, right in front of what? Of a list without even too much hassle. How many lines are these? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with only 5 lines. In fact, you can even write all these things in a single line. We have achieved such a beautiful user interface without even too much hassle. So another parameter that you can pass here is called trailing. So trailing, it gives us an item that we want to have at the end of the list. So the typical list items in the menu, it always be like an arrow showing that you can click on here to go forward. So you can do something like that. So we call it trailing. So I can just simply say trailing equals to, in trailing, we go ahead and pass icon and then say icons dot arrow forward iOS. So you can be able to see that we have our item pointing in front, right? So that gives us our beautiful a beautiful widget that is well spaced. All right, so let's look at another important widget, another important parameter that we can pass to this widget. It is called on tap. So on tap, it enables us to even put a listener on this particular list item. So if someone taps on it, we can be able to do some action, right? So you see here, just simply say on tap and then open bracket and close, and then press open curl bracket and close them, and then in those curl bracket, I go ahead and put the action that I want to be done when someone taps on this list. So that is also, so I can just say list 001 has been tapped on. All right, list item 001 has been tapped on. You see, so that is also another benefit that comes with the list item. So if I go ahead and save and then I tap on this and then we go to our console, now you can be able to see that when I tap on it here, that here in the console we are putting an output. We are getting an output that shows that we have done what? We have clicked on that item. Let me just like this so you can see properly. Members, I hope you can see that. So if I clean here, I just simply click here, tap, you see I have the output there. When I click I see, you see I have the output in there. All right, so that's beautiful. So there are more things that you can pass to the list tile. So if you want to see all of them, just press Ctrl and space. I mean Control. I mean Control and space. Yeah, Control space, not Control and Enter. Control and space button. So if you press Control and space button, I mean space key, or you can call it button, or others call it key. You can be able to see other features that can enable us that can be passed to this list tile. We have icon color, we have history line, we have leading text, leading and trailing style, we have mean leading, all those on long press listeners, all of them are there. So you can go ahead and test all of those out to see how you can make best use of of a list. For example, it's dense, it can help us to it takes a true or false, can help us to compress our list item by reducing the paddings that are in there, the spacings that are inside the list items. You can see that. And then this item, it can show you how it is even clickable, but when you try to click on it, it will show you how it is clickable to give you that kind of feedback that shows that this item has been has been tapped on or has been clicked on. Yeah, so that list style, it is a very important list style. I mean, it's a very important widget that can help us to do our applications with simplicity. All right, so with that much said, let's go ahead and get back to our menu. So as you can see, when we are building this menu, we don't have all that knowledge of list items, of a scrollable list, even list style. That's why you see we had all of these basics. So what we're going to do, we're going to make these items to at least have a list tile, so we can start implementing what we've just learned. So I'll just simply come here to our main menu, or our main page, and then I'm going to create here, just simply say a list tile on top here, list tile, and then I go ahead and put our first word. This one called our first title, and then I go ahead and pass here list. I just simply cut this, I put it here, and then we go ahead and put our on top. We remove this. All right, I delete this one, and then I just put it here, so we can have on top listener there. Yeah, like this. So our list, you see, it looks much more decent. I can just put maybe a leading icon, something like that. I just go ahead and say this is icon of list, and then say trailing. I just point in front like the way we did the other side, and then I just simply put maybe subtitle, go to list page, and let me remove subtitle, and then I just simply save like that. So you can see we have our lists here that is well organized. So this item, this icon, columns that we have not done it, so I can just simply go ahead and also transfer and do for the same for the column. So I just simply say list tile and go ahead and put the column one as well. I just go ahead and remove this one. I remove this guy because I've already implemented the two. So if I save, you can see that we have this beautiful thing that leads us to columns, and then we also have another one that leads us to list, and you can see they are well organized compared to how they were before we actually practice these things. Yep. So members, you can see that there is a column and there is a list. All right, so that's beautiful. I'm going to enable you to, I'm going to ask you some questions, or we're going to interact after the next widget. I'm going to show you how we make use of rows, and then I'll ask you some questions, and you'll also be able to ask me some questions, because we have to make sure that you are attentive in these things that I'm training you. All right, so we're going to look at another widget or another item that we call rows. All right, row, it enables us to arrange things in a what? In a vertical order, right? It enables us to arrange things in a what? In a vertical order. So if I want to arrange something in a row, in a vertical order, multiple items in a vertical order, we use what we call rows, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and see how we can practice the rows. Just simply come here to my pages, right click new, and then say new file, and then I can call this one rows widget, or I can say row widget, rows widget, like this. I mean, like rows page, sorry, rows page, right? And then say dot, right? So that's our second page for rows, and then I go ahead and say stateless widget, and then paste their rows, and then I go ahead and put their material, and then I go ahead and link these rows to our main homepage, which is this one. Just simply come and say rows that will lead to this. So I can go ahead and say list style. Let me duplicate this. All right, so I duplicate it, but you just simply select and press Ctrl and D to duplicate something. So I can come and replace this one with rows page, and then I come and put here rows. Yep. So I can go ahead and change the icon to be I hope we have row, right columns. So can we have rows also? Yep. So this is the one for rows. So it's an item in our main menu or on our home page that can lead us to the demonstration page of what? Of rows. So if I click on this rows section, I can just simply go to the what? The rows widget or rows page. So this rows page is not implemented yet. Let's go ahead and start implementing some things there. I can just simply go ahead and say I can just simply go ahead and put scaffolds, and then go ahead and put up bar, and then go ahead and put I'm going to explain rows. Let me just paste this and then explain rows. All right, so let me explain. So I save. I'm going to explain it. Don't worry if you have not understood anything. I'm going to explain each and everything. Okay, so I will explain this. Now, so we have a up bar here, which is rows page. Now, if you still remember that if items go beyond the available space, it crashes the. Let me remove this guy. It crashes the list. You see, you're having this kind of something, but it has been crashed, which is a row that has been crashed. So if I don't want this item to be scratched, but I want it to have a functionality of a row, I can surround it with a what? With a single child scroll view. The row, I surround it with a single child scroll view, but I don't want it to be a single child scroll view that is scrolling in a vertical way. I change its scroll direction with axis horizontal, so it can scroll left and right like this, right? Now we go to our main functionality of our row. So it is a row. We just simply put a row, and then it accepts children. So it can take more than one what? More than one child. So just like the way we did with column, for it could scroll in a vertical way, but this one's going to scroll in a what? In a horizontal way. So we put there different containers to test it. So we put our first container, which is in red color, and then we give it the word container 1, and then we put another second container, which is in a green color, and we put that someone and call it container 2. So here The difference here is our row, it is almost exactly the same as the column, but the only difference here that the row for it has what it organizes its children in form of what, in form of horizontal, in a form of what, in form of horizontal way. So that is our row, right? It can enable us to organize things in a what, in a horizontal way. So it has also different parameters here, in case you want to space them in a first section. Let's say that we have only a few items in a row. How should I demonstrate that? Um, Let me remove this single child scroll view. By that, remove an item, you can just simply you put the mouse in it, you point in it, and then press Alt and Enter, and then you'll see remove widget, right? So you remove that outside widget out of it. It's also possible like that way. So I've removed the widget out, so the row is just simply plain. And let me remove these items. So you have two items there, and it is just on the top of the scaffold, is in the scaffold itself. So I've put there two items, so you can space them evenly. You can go ahead and space around, so it means that they'll be having equal space around them. We have space at the end. So I mean, be placed at the end. So at the beginning they're not sure, and they'll be placed at the end of the available space. We have also here let's be placed at start, so they'll be in the start section, and then you have here also space between, so they'll be having the space between them. So all those are the different ways of how you can arrange items in a row. Then we have maximum size, if you want it to be wrapped or not. So if you say max, you spend the maximum size that is available. If you say minimum, if you say min, it will spend as minimum space that is available as possible. That's why I see, if I say min, it tries to it reduces its item to minimum space that it can fit in. But if you can say as maximum space, so to try to expand across the widget that is surrounding it. So we have, it doesn't have too much parameters. Basically, those are the main important parameter that we pass through the row. Okay, that we pass through the row. So that is how you can deal with the rows. However, you can go ahead and practice much more, understand much more of how you can play with rows. All right, so if you want to bring it back the way it was, surround it with a single child scroll view, and go ahead and make them to be scroll horizontally. All of those ones you can be able to do to do them. So you have understood what is row, what is a list, what is a column, and what is a container. Those are the basically most important widgets that we do with when we are doing what? When we're designing our Flutter user interfaces. So in the next session, we are going to start with what? With dynamic lists. But before we go to dynamic lists, I would like to hear from you members. I don't know whether you've been following. Have you been following, members? Any question? Let me see if you guys have been following. Mugisha Joseph,
Yes, please.
how are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir.
So what have we talked about?
Yeah, we have talked about, I think, some good number of concepts. We have looked at the columns, but in basically making columns scrollable. And we have used the list view. And then we went ahead and looked at how we can style particular content in a list. And that was list style. Yeah. Wow. And then we looked at rows. We looked at different ways of styling rows also, and managing spaces, making them go to the side, have space between, space evenly, and any other stuffs. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that is very good. It demonstrates that you've been following very well. Thank you, Mr. Mugisha. One lady, Dorcas, are you there? Dorcas, are you following? Dorcas, we can't hear you. We can see you have unmute, but we cannot hear you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes. So basically, me, what I got for myself, the part of making the lists, like in the column format as Joseph has said, and also the rows.
Okay. All right, means that you people are following. All right, that's good. Let's have a 5 minutes break, and then we come back for the last session. Hope that is fine, right? So 6 past 3. Let's join. Let's come back for the second session. You may not leave. Just pause, go and drink a cup of water, and then 6 minutes past 3, we can join for the last session.